Unit 4, measuring the length of objects using a different unit, inchworms and footworms. This video is based upon student workbook page 51, questions 5 and 6. Comparing units of measure, length, the inchworm and the footworm. As you can see, we have an inchworm and one footworm. One inchworm, one footworm. I know one footworm has a greater measure than one inchworm. So a footworm is larger than an inchworm. And I know that the inchworm is a smaller unit of measurement than the footworm. What is an inchworm and a footworm? I know I need 12 inchworms to make one footworm. Let's use inchworms to make a footworm. This is one footworm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 inchworms and one footworm. Foot or feet are greater than inches. It takes 12 inches to make 1 foot. I also know 12 inchworms equal 1 footworm. 12 inchworms equals 1 footworm. And I also know 1 footworm equals 12 inchworms. Inchworm ruler or footworm ruler, which one do we use? Which tool is most appropriate to efficiently measure the length of a school bus? The second graders are going to measure the length of their school bus. Which measuring tool should the second graders use? Fill in the bubble to show. An inchworm ruler, or a footworm ruler. Now, I'm going to think about two things. Is the length of the bus greater than an inchworm ruler? I know a bus is very, very long. I know that it's longer than an inchworm ruler. I also ask myself, which measuring tool uses the least units? So, if I measure with an inchworm ruler, or just one inchworm, is it going to take more inchworms or more footworms in order to measure this bus? I chose a footworm ruler because a footworm ruler is larger unit. One footworm ruler equals 12 inches or 12 units, inchworm units. Number 6, more or less inchworms to measure the bus. Now, I know it took 30 footworms to measure the bus. Would it take more or less inchworms to measure the bus? For each footworm, I need 12 inchworms. Now, if I were to count it all out, I know that there are 3 groups of 10 and 30. And I could count by 12s. 12, 24, 36. And then I'd have to add a 10, so 360. So if I did the math, there would be 360 inchworms to make the entire bus. It would take more inchworms to measure the bus because the inchworm is a smaller unit than the footworm. So it takes more inchworms to equal 1 footworm, and they have 30.